creativity and the amount of just intrepidness by bar operators and bartenders to create new experiences and do some pretty amazing things amidst a time of a lot of uncertainty, was certainly something that I valued a lot, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out in 2022.
Well, my kind of looking back and looking forward might seem a little frivolous, but it's actually something I'm quite passionate about. I feel like 2021, in all of the madness, the espresso martini, which had been popular before, finally got the love it kind of deserved, and both the push of trying to make a better one met insatiable demand in a way that I am just hoping that all next year that continues, that doesn't abate. But we're not making that tonight. We're making rum drinks, and I'd love to put together a rum tonic so we have something in our hands to drink and chit chat over. I'm going to slice some lime pieces first. For me, those kind of larger wedges that we sometimes use in bars and restaurants, they have a purpose, right? They can go off in the glass, and if somebody wants more juice, they can squeeze it. What I want to do here is I kind of want to make multiple pieces, but I want to make them a little bit smaller, so that they can sort of like sit and macerate and soak and just kind of bubble around in my rum tonic. So I'm doing a little slice down, then I sliced it in half, and now I'm just doing these pretty little half wheel slices. And I'm going to end up using 3, that classic sort of odd number plating ritual. And then I'm going to go into, so just, my glassware a lot of times lives in the freezer, came out here to kind of get set up. So it's still really nice and cold to the touch, which I like. So everything that I'm making in my rum tonic, except for the rum, has got some kind of chill on it at least. And I'm going to do a full 2 ounces of, actually, I'm going to do the 5-year. On a spring day, sometimes I really like that kind of light vanilla fun, brightness of a light rum. But I want a little tiny bit of the tannic from the wood structure, because it's kind of 40 and rainy here. And so I'm going to go right in the glass with the rum without anything else. And that glass has that slight chill on it still. And I'm going to use Q Spectacular Tonic. And I'm going to estimate about 4 or 5 ounces worth. I don't want to pour it into a measuring thing and lose any of the bubble, but I kind of know the spot that I'm looking for here. It's kind of about halfway up. And this is fun. I've got a few of these LG Spears here with me. And I like to put the ingredients for this drink in and then put the ice in, and then it kind of like mixes itself. But I have to be careful when I'm using something large, kind of drop it down in the glass like so. And then I'm going to just drop my lime slices right in there, let the skin and the juice and the stuff just kind of like bang around. Give myself a little straw and a stir. And what's kind of fun about using a big rock on a mixed drink like this is that, we're making 3 drinks, and I'm not going to finish this thing right now, right? So I'm going to get to it about half an hour. So it's still going to be a pretty darn good mixed drink with the big ice. But I wanted to share my favorite toast, and this is from a cat who spends a lot of time caring about what's in our drink. But I just wanted to say that it's not as important what's in the glass as who's holding it. So cheers to you, my friends.
Yeah, cheers to
Cheers,
that.
Jackson. Thank you.
Oh, I could drink those. I could drink 10 of those.
That's delicious. Who knew?
Mm.
Makes me
I'm always
easy.
impressed by the structure,
You used Q Tonic in yours, right? Is that what
I did. What'd you use?
I had some of the Fever Tree, just their regular premium Indian tonic water. It's one of my
Same
favorites.
here.
Excellent choices. It's a fun thing to kind of sometimes garnish. I was looking around, like for me this time of year, like a sprig of rosemary as a garnish can be really delightful and impactful. In the summer, you put a little mint on just about everything, and it will bring a little of that aromatic quality that backs up the complexity of the drink.
When I was at when I was at the grocery store earlier looking for tonic waters, I noticed now there's got to be 10, 12 different flavors and different botanical types of tonic water out there. So lots of ways to
Definitely.
experiment too, right?
Like, where's the tonic water aisle?
Whole
You know,
Foods?
I haven't really looked, but did you see anywhere the kind of people not wanting as much sugar has caught up to the craft part of it? Because I still remember like there was like a very devoted diet tonic movement in the diet drinks craze. I'm trying to keep an eye
Yeah.
on the chat. I'm trying to keep an eye on our massive chat. Everybody's saying hello. And
Oh, I love that. Yeah, the Fever Tree Elderflower tonic water, they have Fever Tree has light versions of a few of their tonic waters too now that have, I think, a half or a third the amount of sugar. And they're still delicious.
that way you can have a few more. Oh, well, Kai, let's not finish off our rum and tonic before we get a little bit into the DTO. Like you said, can you tell people before we start cooking this drink, just a little bit about why the DTO has like meaning for us in the bar community, and maybe even remember the first time that you took a shot of a daiquiri under that name, if you can?
Oh man, can't remember at this point because I've fortunately had many friends at the bar. But DTO stands for Daiquiri Timeout, and I mean it's just like for me, it's a nice break. You know, if you're behind the bar and you're going hard all night, you're getting into a rhythm. It's super refreshing, simple, quick shot that you can enjoy with guests. You can enjoy with your bar friends when they come by. For me personally, I like to order a DTO when I'm at a new bar and I don't really know what I want to try yet. And I'm just trying to kind of get to know the bartender and get comfortable. And it's just especially like if you're in the mix of it, it's a nice, literally a timeout that you could take a moment and appreciate, you know, being able to do what we do and enjoy it.
I love that. You know, it's like, I remember that the New York bars used to have this, because they're open till 4 or 5 in the morning. They had that tradition of onesies,
Yeah.
which was a little staff shot at 1 in the morning because you could kind of see the other side of the shift. And so at the Hawthorne, what we have 11sies.
11sies,
Yeah,
that's
it's
right.
2 a.m. 2 a.m. And then we came up with blindsies for when we were trying to study at the same time as take a little shot of something strong.
Nice.
So you would pour it without anybody seeing it, and everybody would have to kind of like, you know, sort of work for the shot. They'd have to describe, you know, and guess what it was.
But whenever you were picking, it was always rum. So we knew that we had at least one angle to go down. So
every now and then I try to find a cognac that didn't taste like a cognac to try and stump you guys.
yeah.
Like, is this Cuban rum? But hey, getting back to daiquiri and daiquiri timeouts, Kai, do you have, so I'm really excited to use Real McCoy. I sometimes like the light rum, the dark rum. I'm probably going to go light on mine. But do you have styles of rum that you like? And people are asking in the sign up, like, just kind of give a little, like, at different times, what different attributes are you looking for from rum in a daiquiri?
Oof. I would say I really love agricole rums. I love that bright, grassy, vegetal vibe in daiquiris, especially for DTOs. You just want something that you're not necessarily going to sip and savor, but I mean, definitely will always pull for Appleton 12. So I'm looking for something a little more with a little more roundness, a little more caramel, a little more weight to it. If I'm going to be really enjoying that, of course, Real McCoy, like what else are we doing here? Let's see. I do really prefer lighter rums. I love the funk rum. It's a nice Jamaican pot still rum. But honestly, if you're at the bar and you're a guest, and you're not really sure what you're trying to get into, just ask for a recommendation. Most bars have so many different varieties of rum at this point that we know what our favorites are and what's going to play really well in a daiquiri for you.
There you go. Well, let's get to it. Take us through.
Sweet. And just, you know, just to be controversial, I'm going to say that in 2022, less Fernet shots, more DTOs.
Yes.
I'm going to leave it at that.
I would love that. I would love that.
We should make t-shirts.
Sorry, Dave Avery.
Let us free ourselves. Cool. So I am going to use, we're gonna go light. Why not? It's not exactly agricole, but it's super delicious. I know it's a 3-year. And I'm gonna go 2 full ounces straight into the shaker. I picked up this shaker very last minute at Target because I'm away from home, aka my bar, but it does the job. It's got a little jigger on it just to keep things rolling. And you're also gonna use 3/4 of lime juice. So I like to cut my limes fresh. I've already got this guy cut. So I'm just gonna cheat here. And I always like to let folks know, typically you're gonna get about 1 ounce of juice from a lime. I've already cut half of this guy, so we're just gonna go straight into our shaker. And I like to do both sides of the lime. Probably also controversial, but I just feel like don't waste. We're gonna do equal parts of a 1-to-1 simple syrup. So I like to just literally use equal amounts of hot water and sugar, but I'm actually gonna use agave plot twist for
that's fun.
just a little variation. Yeah, when we do, I like to really pull on, the daiquiri so simple, you get like boom, 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 rum, sugar, lime. There's all these opportunities to kind of sneak something in, and typically you want to pull a different rum, but also your syrups, your sweetness is gonna give you some roundness. So I figure since we're using a 3-year, might as well add a little bit of that heftiness back to it with 3/4 of agave syrup. Why not? Why not? And then I'm just gonna fill up this shaker with some fresh ice.
Just to let you know, Kai, I put a little Peychaud's in mine.
Nice.
You know,
Yeah, you like some bitters in your daiquiri.
I like to pink it up a little bit, you know?
It's a beautiful color when that comes out the other side, that's for sure.
Get a nice big chunk there. Make sure your shaker's nice and full of ice if you're new to this. You want to just chill your drink as soon as possible. All right, that'll do. And if I've done this once on the cocktail club, I've done this exactly 6 times because we've made 6 drinks together. Just gonna give that a shake.
Here we go.
Shall we?
For those who were asking, what does DTO stand for? It stands for Daiquiri Timeout. Now you know.
All right, feeling good, feeling good. So I'm gonna use a tea strainer, aggressively large for the job, but it's gonna work. Anything retail is just so much bigger than what we actually use at bars. I never quite understood that. And I'm gonna grab my coupe glass as well. And I like to just give that a little swirl before I let it all out through my shaker, through my double strainer. Give it a little tap, make sure I get all of the goods out of there. See, look at these large glasses, my goodness. And that's the DTO. Ooh, look at
It's
that
important
pink.
to take time out. Thank you.
Cheers, y'all.
That's delicious.
Yep. That's right.
So people, they talk, I saw this about espresso martinis, a thread, and it reminded me of daiquiri timeouts when they're full portion. And I'd love your guys' take on it. But the thread was, how many sips are you actually supposed to like consume a full one of these in? And I was always I'm of the age that the Tootsie Roll owl is like launched in my head from Saturday morning cartoons, where he goes 1, 2, 3, and he bites the whole Tootsie Roll off on the third thing. I kind of feel like if you really want to put a whole one of these down, like that's the ticket. You take the first sip, the second sip, and then the third one, you're good to go. But I'm gonna refrain until maybe we're off camera with that move. But do you have any other thoughts about the perfect number of sips for a DTO this size? Anybody else?
You've seen me drink the full drink. I'm
think-
usually here by myself, so who am I sharing with? Come on.
I think it depends on the glass. Like to me, sometimes you put one of them in one of these guys, it kind of looks like a big shot glass, you know. So I feel like it's a little easier to deal with. And when I'm in stemware, I usually take a little time. I don't know why. It's just a feeling. Maybe I just like to hold the glass.
Right.
Someone's asking about garnish for a DTO, and I think it's a timeout. It doesn't last long, so usually we leave ours unadorned. But I've seen some places put a little lime wheel floating in the center, or a piece of mint, or there's lots of different ways you can dress it up. But classic daiquiri it's so delicious.
Yeah, I gotta go with less is more.
Yeah, I think so.
On a DTO.
If you insist, I mean, zero waste. Peel a little bit of your lime before you juice it. Just give it a nice expression over the glass. Just run the rim. Just really brightens that up if you insist. But again, this is like no time.
I also
citrus oil is a nice touch.
Well, like and occasionally like a single mint leaf on a drink that doesn't even have mint in it. When you express it over, can do some of the things that like a lemon, different things, but like a lemon, it can be there in the air of the drink or on the rim of the drink and not in it, and still add like a little bit of complexity to it, so. Good question for this one for both of you. On the login, I noticed that it was Sarah talking about having a big party and like what can they do to, like, obviously you can't shake these up and just put them in the fridge and wait, but you make any suggestions about versions of either of these two, versions of the DTO that could be kind of batched or made to easily for a lot of people?
It's not my favorite way to batch, but it'll get it done. So I've typically found when you shake a cocktail, you're introducing just about an ounce of water, give or take, to a drink. And so if you're trying to make, 20 of these guys at once, you're going to measure out 20 parts of that and add water, but you're definitely going to want to chill that ahead of time. I love batch cocktails. Of course, we have to make batch cocktails, but there's something about the shake that I feel like just really gets things going. So if I have like a big bottle, if I put my DTO in here, I'm just going to give it a good solid shake before I pour it. If we're hanging out at the house, we got a bunch of people and we're just trying to keep things moving. That's what I would say. I don't know, Jared. I don't know how you feel about that.
Yeah, I mean, one sort of hack that I've used before is the same thing. You make a bottle of DTO with water included and everything that you'd need. You just stick it in the freezer beforehand, and then your guests show up. You want that toast. I just dump that bottle into a blender without any ice at all, and I just blast it for a few seconds just to get that froth going again. It's not quite the same, but it has a lot of those same qualities. And then you can it's an easily pourable format and get it in glasses and people toast and you're on your way. I love at parties, I especially house gatherings and whatnot. You folks that are here in the room with us, would love to show off your cocktail prowess and whatnot, but you don't want to be stuck behind your own home bar making drinks all night, right? So there's lots of great rum punches that call from this pretty classic blend of acid, sugar, and spirit, right? And with a few other twists and modifications, you can make a big, delicious bowl of something that everyone can enjoy together, and you can enjoy with them too.
It occurs to me from so many Zoom classes and live classes and everything else, like how shaking a drink actually seems to come more natural to a lot of people than, say, stirring or something that seems like it would be easy, but is a little bit more kind of like fine practiced skills. But you sort of have a context for this motion, right? It fits in with other normal motions. So it occurs to me one fun way to do it might be to batch the whole thing up, even though it's pretty simple, right? But no water. And then make a nice little station like this with a little mat and your shaker and some glasses and the bottle with a little instruction card. And maybe when your guests arrive, you make one or two to show them how it's done. But then you're like, hey, I can show you how to do that. And like that way you have kind of the best of both worlds. You have a fresh shaken daiquiri, but even if there is like a little bit of labor going into it, it's something communal, you know? So, and more people I think know how to kind of pull that off. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a do-it-yourself Daiquiri Timeout station at your next big event. Yeah. Hey, I knew we were going to run long, and there's three of us. We're making 3 drinks, and we have all the time that we need. I want to remind folks: hit my Venmo in the chat. All that's going to Jared and Kaisha by morning, so you have a little time after the session. If you don't get it in right now, if you've got it in you, please be generous. And with that, Jared, do you want to start to mount up the Hemingway? And full disclosure, I'm using the wrong glass, and I'm going to make 2 in 1 and have a gigantic drink when we're all said and done.
But isn't that not how Ernest Hemingway would have had it though?
I sort of feel like it is a Hemingway-esque way to enjoy a Hemingway daiquiri.
I mean, drinks history is always such a fuzzy thing, right? Like we don't actually know a lot of these origin stories and whatnot. But the Hemingway daiquiri, right? 1930s, Ernest Hemingway in Cuba, the El Floridita bar. He tastes their house daiquiri and he likes it, but he says it would be a lot better if it had twice as much alcohol and no sugar, right?
Guy.
Yeah, the first skinny cocktail, right? And you know, it morphed into this, which has maraschino liqueur and grapefruit juice in it, which some have said is the way that the bar made this drink also palatable to everyone else that was coming in as well. So I do love this drink. I do love this drink quite a bit. So we're going to use the real McCoy. I'm going to use the 3-year. I love clear, clean, kind of straightforward, right, white rums for this drink. We'll use 2 full ounces in our shaker tin here. And then a mix of a couple different types of acids. So fresh squeezed lime juice and fresh squeezed grapefruit juice. You can squeeze it yourself with fruits. Grapefruits are large and can be a little unwieldy. The Whole Foods that I was at today actually had cold pressed juices that they do in-house. So you get essentially someone else fresh squeezes your grapefruits for you, and it's great. So a 1/2 ounce each of the grapefruit and the lime. And then I know we want to like cut down our like sugar consumption, but a little bit of sweetness goes a long ways to bringing this drink into balance. And so we're using Luxardo's beautiful maraschino liqueur, really strong, potent, quite aromatic liqueur. There's lots of different maraschino liqueurs out on the market now, and they all vary actually in their intensity and their inherent sweetness and whatnot. They're all quite delicious and pretty different, but I do love Luxardo's, maybe because it was the first one that I really worked with. Jackson, you're really going to town.
I'm having some fun here. I usually juice ahead of time, but I didn't on this one. And I am making a double.
You're making a big one.
So.
Oh, that's awesome. Cherry. So someone asked, can you use cherry herring? Cherry herring is a little different. That's definitely going to be very much like the cherry fruit forward, whereas the maraschino liqueurs are made using the pits of the cherries and is a slightly different flavor profile. It's a little bit less fruity and a little bit more aromatic, if that makes sense. Now you can serve the Hemingway Daiquiri any number of different ways, and I've seen them served up like our classic DTO. I've seen them served on crushed ice. I've seen them served on the rocks. I've seen them in wine glasses. Really, it doesn't matter too much. And I think all 3 of us may be using slightly different glassware here. I'm going to serve mine just on the rocks. I don't have a fancy LG fridge, but I do have an ice mold that makes square cubes that I keep in my freezer. And I'm just going to give this a quick shake with ice. So I'm going to add ice to my shaker tin.
Not quite as thorough as we would on the daiquiri that we were serving up, Jared.
Yeah, because like we're gonna at least I'm serving mine on the rocks, right? So that ice is going to melt into that drink as we're consuming it. So I don't need a lot of ice or a lot of water in there right from the get-go. So just a short shake just to make sure everything's integrated and mixed up. And so we can do that now, right? Nice and quick there, and I'm going to use a little Hawthorne strainer right on top of that just to get that right on top of that big ice cube of mine. Now this, I usually don't garnish it either. I do have these nice these lime wheels that I've cut, and I do have a flat surface from this ice cube that is floating in the middle of that drink. So I'm just going to plop that right in the center there. Jay asked, what substitute do you recommend for maraschino liqueur? Jackson, you're a little
That crazy
off
gin simple syrup hack is better than you think. It's just because it goes with everything that's in here,
So you're saying equal parts gin and simple syrup?
To make that half ounce. Yeah. So you can just
That's
like
awesome.
pour it right in the thing, and you get to kind of a liqueur with this sort of similar sweetness and body that it's adding, but also that weird kind of cool floral, botanical, citrusy note that I find is in the maraschino,
I've never tried that, but that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
I'm doing a little twist off the grapefruit before I juiced
Ooh.
it, just because I can. And
Oh, Kirsch is a great choice. The Kirsch won't really have any sweetness to it. A Kirsch with a little bit of simple syrup might do the trick though.
Akavit too.
Oh yeah.
And it's gonna because it'll still hang with grapefruit, but it's gonna pull you a little bit, But I think by the time you get to like Benedictine and Amaretto and things that you think of as being in the same family as maraschino, I think you're in pretty radical territory. You're gonna be on a different drink if it works, Is it a race?
There it is.
Cheers, friends.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Nice to see some familiar names in the chat as well. Eric, hello.
Always impressed by how sort of like spicy that feels to me.
Yeah, it's cool. But it's like some of that's coming from the maraschino, some of it's coming from the grapefruit too, right?
Oh,
I can't stress
enough.
I can't stress enough like you use fresh citrus in your drinks that like just worlds better. Even more so than spending more money on nicer liquor, really.
Well, hey, I really can't thank you both enough for being here. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate you being with us all year, but that's the time that they give us. That's all we have time for Cocktail Club. I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank LG and their exclusive craft ice and the Real McCoy Rums for sponsoring us. Cocktail Club will be back in the new year. Follow us at Globe Events on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter for more information about upcoming Boston.com Cocktail Club events. You can find me on all those platforms as well by searching for @CannonJacks. Special thanks to Kai and Jared. Most of all, to all of you. Thanks, everybody. Cheers. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I'm back to the DTO.
I think I am too. Hey, man. Great job, guys. Thank you so much. That
was fun as always.
I still have 3 of these.
Yeah.
Think I can do it?
Oh, you're gonna juggle? Oh my God. Oh, Jesus.